guys, thanks for tuning in. This is Optibotimus coming to you with another video review. And today, thanks to the folks at Kapow Toys, we'll be taking a look at a painted test shot of their FT-11 spotter, which is their representation of none other than a masterpiece scale reflector. Really a very cool looking camera mode, obviously. All three of them combined to make this. And they did a pretty good job with it. Now, much like a lot of the other reviewers who've gotten this, I did not get instructions. But I did send Kapow Toys a message and said, hey, can I get instructions for this? Because this is definitely not easy to do if you don't have the instructions for it. And I really didn't want to miss out on anything. Now, one thing that I'll tell you is that in terms of accessories, he does come with a couple extras that this particular sample does not come with. You can see he comes with they come with 3 guns. They're all exactly the same. They hold them the exact same way. So you do get 3 of these little guys. They're just molded in this plastic, which, again, this is a test shot, so I don't know if they're going to change the colors on this or anything, or if any of the colors on this are going to change. You also do get a smaller version that can be held by any of your other Decepticons. Thundercracker comes to mind. This piece does detach, which is strange. This doesn't. But what is really very cool is you come around here to the back and you can see that the chest, the back section here is actually done up much like the back is on this. Now, you don't have the color, obviously, but I think that that's really cool that they actually included that. It's just a little bit of detail that they didn't need to do, but I'm really happy that they did. Now, one thing that you're noticing, though, is why is this light purple, whereas this is this gray? Now, this is a lot more cartoon accurate. The way that they did these legs, making the legs actually the front of the camera, it kind of made it difficult to actually do this. So you couldn't really get that same cartoon look kind of going for it, but I'm okay with it. I think that looks perfectly fine, and I love the fact that they included a little tiny one. Now, for another comparison, here's the G1 version. This is a little bit dusty, and it's just kind of hanging out here, but mostly dusty more than anything. But you can see that it's, fairly similar. You got the 2 outer bots and then the center one. They did have names. One was like Viewfinder, one was Spectre. I don't remember the other one's name, but in the G1 cartoon, all 3 of them were just referred to as Reflector. So it's like they're all of a hive mind. You do have the little camera that you can, you can see through right there, which is really cool because it's like you look through there and it comes out through there, because you actually do have a bit of a reflection or mirror thing in there, which is really cool. I totally dig that. So there's that comparison. I don't have anything else really to kind of compare him to give you kind of an idea, other than maybe using Masterpiece Soundwave. This is about the same size, honestly. From this kind of thickness, they're roughly identical. So really cool that, obviously they scale fairly well. And then obviously in this guy's robot mode, he's going to get pretty small, but it works. And then honestly, I mean, here's my Canon 70D, which has been replaced by the camera that I'm using right now. But you can see size-wise, I mean, other than the lens that's currently on this, it's actually pretty comparable in terms of a size. So I'm actually really happy with it. I mean, you come around here to the back, and you kind of have like a little viewfinder there. This is where you would like push like a click and take your picture and everything. You got this nice lens right here in the front. Obviously, you have the flash right there. Nice chrome on there, which really does give it kind of an actual flash look. Now, like I said, I did get the instructions with this, but one thing that I'm noticing is like right here, this isn't collapsing all the way down like it should. I'm hoping that that's just something with this being the test sample, and I hope that they do fix it. I'll touch on why that is like that when I actually go through the transformation. But all in all, I mean, I do like it. I think that this comes together very nicely. It's fairly solid. When you push everything together, it is very solid, so it's not flopping out or anything like that. So I'm really quite impressed, despite the fact that the tabs that actually are on here are pretty small, but they are numerous. So that is pretty impressive how they actually did that. This doesn't rotate or anything. I mean, if you put this in the proper way, this is actually the proper way that it's supposed to be attached. It doesn't rotate, but if you just kind of like put it off to the side, you can kind of rotate that, but according to the instructions, that's the proper way that it's supposed to be, where you have this little notch on the side, which again, it looks really cool and kind of gives this actually like a real lens sort of thing. This is one kind of thing. This just kind of rests in here. It doesn't actually seem to clip into anything. Again, it's not bad or anything. I mean, it stays on there, obviously, but it just is a friction kind of thing. But in general, I really do like the way that this looks. Now for the transformation, first we're just going to remove these. These will become awesome weapons later on, but we'll take care of those here in a few minutes. And basically, all you need to do is kind of lift this, detach that, and you're going to pull this section off, and then you're going to pull this section off. And now you have the three halves of, I shouldn't say halves, the three sections that become different robots. These guys transform identical. The only thing that's really different is this is on the left side, this is on the right side. And when I say that, I mean the right side of his robot, because this is his face. So I am going to just show you how to transform one of these guys. It's kind of pointless to go over it twice. It'll let me save some time. So first what you want to do is take this section. You're going to slightly pull this leg away so that you can lift this. This actually, there's a little tiny slot right here that grabs underneath this section. That actually locks that down into place. So you need to pull that away just like so. And then you're going to lift this just like that. Come around here. This section here, it just kind of helps with the robot mode in terms of the coloring. I don't know honestly what it does in the actual alt mode, but that needs to be slid up just like so. And then you take these, kind of loosen everything. These detach on the sides just like so. Swivel that out, kind of loosen this. These all tab in very securely, and then pull this down. Give that a nice little pull. There we go. And then you can bring these two sections together. You got little tabs. You got a little slot and a little tab section right here. You just bring these together, and once you have it straight, those will lock into place just like so. And then just continue to keep loosening up, and then pull this down just like so. And you can extend the legs just to kind of get things out of the way. Give that a nice separation right there. Give it a nice little tug to get it all the way out. There we go, just like that. Then you come around here to the side. Well, first, take these arms, detach these. Again, these tab in very securely along the sides here, which is actually really very nice. Pull that out as well. Then come around here, kind of just angle these. Get this section here, lift this up like that. Lift that up on the opposite side, just like so. Come around here to the bottom. You're going to, well, you have this right here. You can leave that there. Just make sure that's there. Swivel this out, bring this up just like so. Then you can take this, bring that forward, and then come around here to the bottom. When you do that, take this, detach this, swivel this around like so, and then you can swivel that just like that, and then do that on this side as well. So you bring that around just like so. Very simple. Then you bring this up, tab that into place. You can push these down right there. This just flops down like so. Rotate that around, flop that down like so. Take these, rotate these around there. Do that on that side as well. Kind of straighten this all out. Push right here in the front. It's a little bit easier to do it if you have fingernails, but if you have fingernails, you can just reach in there and grab it. But it's a little easier for me, who doesn't have very good fingernails, just to push in from that section, get a little bit of clearance, and see if there we go. Get a look. Don't go back in there. Don't go back in. Push in. There. Come on. See, fingernails are very good. So I got this little teeny tiny screwdriver that just pulls that out just like so. There we go. Makes that nice and easy. And then make sure that you straighten these thigh pieces out very nicely. Rotate this, keep these down, bring this down, then take the head, extend that up. This rotates down and around, and then that tabs in along the side. You can see there's a little tab section right there that slots into that little piece right there. So you bring that down, locks that into place just like so. Bring these down like that, rotate his head, make sure bring that up like so. Then you can bring these up, and then take this section here, you're going to rotate this around and then bring this up. This collapses right along his back nice and flush. You can come around here to this section. Now this is actually a little bit tricky to do, and actually the instructions recommend using a tool if you can't get it to rotate. You got a little section right here. You can kind of see that it's on this little C-clamp. This is meant to rotate all the way down. Like this whole section right here slides down into here. It's very hard to actually get it to do it, so they recommend, honestly, using a tool to do it. If you can, great. If not, like that works perfectly fine. And then you just take this, you bring this back, and you bring, yeah, you do, duh, Paul. I don't know why I didn't have that right. Actually, well, we're just gonna put it like that because I think that's kind of how it goes. At least it sits kind of flush right there. Then you just take this, extend that out like that, extend that out like that, come around here to the bottom, open this, kind of push right in there to get his fist to come out. There we go, just like that. Close that. Do that on this side as well, like so. Get his fist, and I'm just going to push this. There we go, make it easy. Instead of fiddling with it, bring that down, rotate, or then you have to rotate his fists around like so. And there you have person A in his robot mode. Now, like I said, in terms of transformation, it is the exact same. So I am going to skip this one. Everything is the exact same. It just is. I'm going to go ahead and skip it and get this guy in his robot mode. And boom, there you have him. And now, like I said, you basically have identical twins, which was the way it was. The center guy was the only one that was different looking. So this works very, very nicely. Now the center guy transforms very much like these two did, but there are a little bit differences with some of the sequences, I guess. So first we're going to come around here. We're going to use a lack of thumbnail to detach these from the side. We're going to pull this down. You just really kind of, like I said, wiggle everything a little bit loose. It tabs in very securely. Then you have, get that down. Then like I said, you have these little notches right here, which will peg in here. Just kind of accordion this, line it up, and give that a nice little squeeze just like so. Come around here to these legs. You're going to start pulling these away just like that, extending them out, kind of split that out, and then pull all the way on both sides, just like that. Come around here to the bottom. Oh, well, you should do it on the side here. And again, lack of fingernails kind of makes this difficult. And these are really very stiff on the side. That's something that will probably change on the final one. As I mentioned, this is a test sample, so tolerances and tightnesses probably will be adjusted. I'm going to use the paintbrush to wedge this out. So just kind of wedge that out. Just like, well, okay, sorry. I'm gonna pull these out first. It gives it a little bit of leverage. So you pull that out, then you wedge that up just like so. So we'll do that on the opposite side as well, just like that. And then you split the legs on both sides just like that. Lift this, get this out of the way, then detach this bottom section, bring it up, swivel that out to the side, bring this, swivel that down, swivel that off to that side, bring that in, bring that down. Very, very simple. I mean, it does have a pretty fluid transformation once you know how to actually do it. And then you take these, bring these down like so. You're going to rotate these around. One thing that I will talk about real quick while I have this here is they don't tab in, but I did see Pia's review, and his seemed a lot looser. I mean, this is a little bit loose right here, but I mean, they're not flopping, at least on mine. So again, don't judge a book by its cover, and do remember that these are test samples right now. So then you come around here, you got this section right here, again, very similar. You rotate this down, that tabs in, push that all the way down, that'll tab in on the side right there, just like so. Kind of straighten these out. This section here, and this gets a little bit clustery. You lift this, and then you have to angle this up And then this whole section, it's kind of, you got to get it on a very sweet spot angle to get that to rotate that around. It does have some clearance issues, but just go patiently with it and you'll get it to rotate perfectly fine. Lift that up just like so. Bring this, rotate this around. Bring this up. I'll take the head and again, kind of angle this. You have to bring this back and then make sure the head is pushed forward all the way, but you don't want to push this all the way back yet because you have to bring this up in. So just kind of go like that for right now. Then take this section, lift this, that also lifts his head, and then you can come around here to the back and you can push that all the way and locking that into place. Then you bring this down, sits along his back section, take this, extend this all the way out, just like so. You bring out the hands slash fists on this side. Again, I'm going to use my little paintbrush, push that, and kind of just bring that out like so. Bring that down, rotate that, and then you have to rotate the hand as well. The hands do only go in really one way, and that's with the fists down. If you try putting it in the other way, it'll just get a little bit screwed up, and you'll have a hard time actually getting it out. So make sure you put it in that way. Bring that down, rotate that around, come around here, and drop this, do that, bring out his foot, do that there, give it a little push right there, bring out his foot, straighten him up, and there you have all three of them now in their robot mode. And I really gotta say that I absolutely love the way that these guys turned out. I really do think that these nailed that kind of masterpiece sort of aesthetic and look, and do a great job of capturing that cartoon likeness for Reflector. Now, like I said, these two guys are essentially identical. They do transform differently in terms of, you know, the sculpt and everything. It's the exact same. Nothing really changes on them at all. This guy does have obviously a little bit more of a different look just because he makes up the centerpiece, but that's the way that they were, you know. So I mean, you can't really complain too much about something that is pretty accurately kind of depicted in terms of toy form. Now, setting these guys to the back, he does come with a couple extra accessories like I talked about before. You do have these pieces right here. So first, you detach this. This holsters a bit of a dagger. It's kind of hard to get to because, again, you know, not having fingernails isn't good, but you got this nice little dagger right here that just kind of sits in here. Unfortunately, the instructions do not show at all where this can be attached, so I'm still kind of left not knowing what to do with this. This section right here, which obviously is the flash, can detach. Not that kind of flash, it's the camera flash, silly. Detaches just like so, and then you got these two sections right here. We'll touch on this here in a little bit because that actually is incorporated with this. These little guys right here, again, have daggers, and depending on which side you want to use, you do have to make sure that you find the proper side for it. But basically what you do, you got a little tab here, and then it tabs right in there along the side. So you got a little sheath right there with his knife in there, and then same thing with this. You just, what's that? There we go. Put that right there. So you got a little tab section right there, and then a little notch right there that goes in, and then you bring that around, and it rests in there very nicely. And like I said, you got the little daggers that sit right on the inside there. So you do have some weapons right there. And then, like I said, then you got these pieces. So you come around here to this section, and this is kind of unfortunate. Mine was damaged right out of the box. Again, this is a test sample, so things get bumped around and things like that. So you separate these little pieces. They come off to the side, and then you collapse that. Do that on both of these, and then you come around to this. You take this section here, and you collapse this all the way up, and then you got this little square hole right here that this is going to peg into. So you just go there and then kind of angle that. Well, first of all, make sure you have this pushed all the way back, which I didn't, and then you put that right in there, and then you got this handle right here that as you push this in, this kind of locks it. So you take this, and then you basically just slide the gun down there. The hand opens up So again, fairly stiff just because of the tolerance issues that a new figure will have, and obviously a test figure. So get that open, you wedge that in there like so. And this is actually really very cool. I think that this is a stellar idea. You got a little peg hole right there, and then you got a little peg. So you bring that in, and it actually, if you get that positioned all the way back, you can actually get him to hold it, obviously, but it also pegs into his forearm, so it gives a nice degree of stability, which I think is fantastic. Love that they actually included something like that. Do that on this side as well. Collapse this all the way in. It locks the handle kind of in place. Bring this, get that right there, and then again, bring this around. Just wedge this into his hand like so. Jeepers. Again, very tight. It's a good thing. I don't mind it being tight, but my fingers are really sore from transforming this guy. So again, bring this back, tab that in right there. I just think that that's ingenious. I absolutely love it. You can get there, hold it. You can have him kind of position this around, dual wielding, something like that if you really wanted to. I mean, very, very cool. Let's see. Let's get that going. Well, no, let's see. He's not going to be wanting to face the gun out that way, so get him there. Do this. Rotate that around just like so. Now, this is the part that actually broke. This section here, this detaches, and this, like I said, this was busted when I first got it. I don't know if it was just bad plastic or what, but you want to detach that, and then you want to detach this. This section is what broke off. It looks like it just snapped, but this is actually supposed to then, when you get this, you bring this back like so, and this is actually, you had it down like this. So here, let me get this out of the way. That rotates back. You have it like this normally. Then it's supposed to rotate around, and then it also does spin. I can't get it to spin, but it's supposed to be like a target kind of thing, which is okay, but honestly, I like it not on there. I think it looks a little bit better without it on there. Fold this out. This is going to be the handle. You bring this in, and then you got, I'm going to try to show you this. You got these little rectangular sections that come forward and are going to slot right into those tabs. So bring that up, and you kind of have to do it on an angle to get it properly lined up, and it's still not very easy to do, but come on. Well, alright, you get the idea. I'm not going to force it or anything like that, and it's never good to force plastic. And then you got this section right here that just kind of swivels down off to the side, and then this piece, again, lack of fingernails makes this difficult. You just wedge something in there. Is that gonna come on, there we go. Bring that forward, and you got the barrel right there. And then what you basically have here is like a Gatling gun kind of thing. So you got this piece right here. He holds it underneath like that. Again, the fingers here do make it a little bit difficult. You gotta keep those spread out. So you're going to bring this up, get that out of the way, bring that up like so. He's going to hold it in that hand just like so, and then you have this section right here, which is another handle, and then you bring that over, kind of angle these shoulders a little bit like that, and you can have him kind of having like this giant Gatling gun sort of thing. Now, like I said, you got this as a targeting thing, but I think it just looks better, honestly, without it. So I'm kind of glad that it came like this, but it should be attached. So all the pieces really do get reused. I mean, this is obviously not supposed to be extra. This, honestly, I do not know where you could potentially put this. I mean, we constantly keep seeing people try to line this up on their butts, and it doesn't seem to really fit there. I mean, the tab is there. I don't know why it wouldn't fit there, honestly. But I don't know. I mean, it kind of looks like, oh, wait a minute. Maybe go like that. Kind of looks like it would sit somewhere. So, like I said, the instructions actually do not show you where that piece goes, so I can't specifically show that to you guys, so I do apologize. So all the parts do get reused with the exception of this, so bear that in mind. You also do have the other guns. Again, these are identical, that they can hold. The other thing that this does come with, that unfortunately my sample here did not come with, is each of them comes with a total of 3 faces. You get the ones that are on there right now, and then 2 additional ones for each figure. So you get a total of 9 faces. So people were kind of complaining about the faces, and I can't blame them because, you know, some of these are kind of goofy. So coming in, you got this guy, which kind of has this open mouth smirk. I mean, the face sculpt I don't think is really all that bad. It's just the choice of face that they use is kind of weird. So you got that. You got this guy here, who just kind of looks like he's making a smirky duck face kind of thing, which, again, not really, you know, fitting of the character of Reflector, but you do have that. But this is probably the best one. It's more of a neutral kind of face, which I think just suits the character a little bit better. You know, so my question would be, if we are getting, you know, a total of 9 faces, are we just basically getting, you know, like a total of 3 of the duck face, a total of 3 of the Cirrus, and a 3 of the open mouth? I don't know. But for me, it's really not all that bad because I will be taking, you know, just the kind of standard face and putting them on all 3 of these guys. So that works perfectly fine in my opinion. For some comparisons, here you see the new spotter figure in front of the G1 Reflector toy. And obviously you're seeing a huge difference, and these guys looked vastly different than how they looked in the cartoon. I mean, vintage-wise, these are great figures, but in terms of accuracy, they don't come anywhere close to what they look like kind of here or in the cartoon itself. And then for another comparison, here you have them next to a fellow Spybot, I guess. We have the Masterpiece Soundwave. So you're seeing, just in general, how big these guys are, and I really do think scale-wise they work perfectly. In the cartoon, these guys were roughly the size of what the Autobot cars were, despite transforming down to something this big. I really do think that this works very nicely. Now for the articulation, they all do basically have the exact same. The head is on a bit of a ball joint, so you can get that moving all the way around, up and down. Really nice red eyes on there too. The shoulders you can see flex in a little bit, kind of part of the transformation, but it's also there. You do have a swivel here at the shoulder, moves in and out, rotates at the upper part of the bicep. You've got 2 joints here for the elbow, so you get a really nice deep elbow curl on there. That looks really very good. Oh, that popped off. Who needs that, right? The fingers do open, but just at you know, that joint right there. They also do rotate. He rotates at the waist, so you get a nice range of motion there. They can move forward and back. You kind of have to move these pieces out. And God, that's, do you see that little mark right there? That's from these sharp edges in doing it for the past couple days. It just, because of how tight they are, you just get these really sharp edges that really do hurt. So you can move the hips forward and back, they move in and out, they rotate at the upper part of the thigh. They do have 2 joints down here at the knee itself. You also do have this section right here that bends, but that's for transformation purposes. He does have a bit of a toe pivot and then ankle tilt right there, so you can get some nice wide poses. And then on the bottom here, there are actually die-cast pieces. I mean, it's kind of weird that they put it at the bottom because it's like you don't see it or anything, but the overall weight and feel of this figure is very solid. It does feel as if the quality is still consistent with Fans Toys, and I mean there is definite some heft in these figures. It's not all down here in the feet. I mean the whole torso area is very heavy, and from what I've seen, it really doesn't have a heck of a lot of metal anywhere else other than the feet. I can't find anything, but it's very dense right in here, so you do get a lot of, you know, the robot's stuff kind of crammed in here. I think they did a real good job with the overall engineering on these guys. It's really quite nice. Now to transform these guys back, it is probably the harder way to transform these, so we're just going to start assembling these pieces and things like that. Now, I mean, people complain because these, you know, are part forming, and honestly, this really doesn't bother me at all. I mean, it's one of those things where at least they're using them in a way that, or, I mean, using the parts in a way that kind of at least makes some degree of sense. So just assembling everything back just like that. Then you have that. You pull this piece out. You got the little notches here that just slides in just like so. Kind of squeeze that in there, and then you bring this, rotate this back and in. So yeah, like I said, I mean, it is, you know, the more difficult way to transform this. And then obviously this is a piece that is not supposed to be detached, but you can just wedge this right in here. I mean, it honestly, like I said, I kind of prefer to be able to take that off. So putting this all on here just like that. But yeah, again, so that, you know, the transformation, difficult, but honestly, there is a fluidity to it, and you do have to have the proper steps for it, and if you don't, it can be a little bit complicated. But all in all, I really don't think it's bad at all. So starting off first, we're going to come around here to the back. We're going to lift this, rotate the hand so that when you rotate this up, the fingers are facing up. That's the best way to do it where things don't get caught in there. Then you're going to rotate that, collapse this up like so. Do that on this side as well. Get that out. Again, bringing out my little paintbrush just to kind of edge or get a good wedge on things, just like that. Pull that out and then rotate that back and in just like so. Put that right off to the side, rotate this, collapse this up just like that. Take this section, you're going to lift this up off the back and then kind of lift these forward, and you can detach this and then just flop this down here in the back. Take the head section here, you're going to wait to move that. So again, make sure that you do this in kind of the proper steps. These little side pieces, they come up. You want to make sure that you rotate these up and in first. It does help if you have these pushed forward. You get a little bit more clearance when you're rotating these little small sections up and around just like that, and then you can bring that back up. Then when you have those brought up in that section, you can take this section, push this down, this lowers his head, and then you like I said, kind of fiddle with this and get that to rotate around. It does have a little bit of a sweet spot, but not too much. So then separate this, angle that out just like that, kind of keep that up like so. Take this section, rotate this down, then we're going to use this. We're going to angle out these little skirt pieces like so. Like I said, really stiff. That's how I got that little mark on my thumb like I showed. So angle that out like that, then take these, rotate this out just like so. Do that on this side as well. You bring this down and then rotate this up like that, then rotate this around, and then you can bring that around like so. So very simple. Bring that up, collapse this into place, and then you're going to bring these forward just like so. Then at this point you can bring these sections down on both sides. Oh, actually, I did see, I skipped a step. And that's where things will get complicated. So going back, we're going to go reverse. So when you have these out like this, make sure you take this section and you bring this down at that point. It is on a little bit of a hinge, so it slides all the way down a little bit more. So when you do it, then bring that in. That way, this section will be at the bottom of him. Then at this point, you can bring these side pieces back down. Then take these arms, you can rotate these in. These will tab in along the sides here. Do that on both sides, just like that. Take the feet, rotate that up. Do that on both sides as well. Now this part can be a little bit tricky. You do have to make sure that you rotate right here at this section. So get that rotated. Oh, sorry. Rotate this out. Rotate this out. And then make sure you're bending here. And then as you do that, you can kind of collapse that down. But as you do it, make sure you're pulling this little section, because if this is not kind of flat like it is right now, it will have a hard time lining everything up and having this collapse up in. So do that on this side as well. When you have the leg out, you get a little bit more leverage to actually rotate that. So that's why I say rotate it around and then kind of collapse it as you're rotating it. So make sure you get that all the way around, and then make sure that these little white sections are as straight as possible. So then you bring that all the way in, collapse these two sections, push that in, rotate this around, tab this right there, tab this right there. You can take this section here, rotate this back, and then get the head kind of out of the way, bring this down, and you got little notches right here that this pushes down into and locks into place. Then take this, it's kind of you know, you do one side first and then the other side, so you bring that in, and then bring that in, and then you give this a push, and that locks that down into place like so. And here you have the center section. Now obviously you're going to have to put this on here at some point, like that, at some point in time, but we'll do that all when all these figures are done and assembled. So now, now because the transformation is obviously, and then you take this, and then you slide these little pieces down. That's one last step of the transformation. Get that down. That's really, again, I'm going to wedge that down just like so. So make sure you bring that down. So you have that. Now coming to these guys, again, I'm going to show you it just one time because it is the exact same transformation. It's just mirror imaged. Basically what they did was, instead of having this section here, they put it on that side, and then that side they just swapped around. So basic same principle. So again, come around here, you're going to rotate the hands around. That lets you get easier access to the actual compartment right here. Tuck that up. So again, we're going to rotate that around so that the back of the hand is facing down. Rotate that down, rotate that in just like so. Come around, collapse both of these up along the sides. Do that on both sides as well. Kind of straighten out his head. We're going to rotate it around here in a minute. So rotate this, just kind of get these up and out of the way. Take the head, you're going to, oh no, you just leave that, well, I'll worry about that in a minute. Angle these out, and then you can pull this section out just like so. These little sections right here, rotate up, and again, like I said, you're seeing the same transformation essentially as this guy. So once you get it once, it's pretty easy to do the rest of the times. Bring those up just like that, and then you can take the head, collapse that down just like so. Come around here to the side, keep that kind of up, angle these bits out. So stiff right there. It really does hurt my thumbs. Get that on both sides just like so. Detach this. You're going to then rotate off to the side. Rotate this, I'm sorry, up and out. Spin around, up and out. Bring this down, bring this down. This tabs on the underside of his crotch area. Take this section, fold this down like so, and then you bring these pieces in. Again, very simple as long as you actually go in the correct process. If you miss a step, like for example making sure that you bring this section down, it can kind of screw things up. Rotate these pieces around just like so. They're going to cover the face. We'll worry about that in a second. Well, rotate the head. I should have rotated it when I was talking about it. Bring that down, and then like I said, those are going to come up and cover up the face. So once you have the legs positioned properly like this, you can bring these sections down just like so. Rotate these arms around and in. Get that all the way in like so. Tab that in. Do that on this side as well. Tab that in. And then you're bringing these bits up on an angle, and you can separate this. That's going to need to be separated at some point in time, so might as well do it now, I guess, right? Get that just loosened up, and then you angle these legs back and up, kind of like I said, pushing here and getting a little bit of leverage as you bring it in and around like so. Make sure you get this kind of all the way off to the side. You tuck his head forward, and that's where you kind of cover it up. Rotate the foot back, but you can kind of see how it's on an angle here. I don't know how I'm gonna try doing it, but you really got to make sure you get it all the way up, kind of like that right there. So that actually worked a little bit better. So now again, angle, use the bottom part of the leg as leverage, kind of collapsing. This kind of gets in the way, kind of collapsing as you angle it back just like so. Kind of push that, get that foot tucked away, and and then bring this all in like that. Give that a nice little push. This comes over, keep that held together there, and then this tabs along the side right there. Do that. Oh, I did that at the same time. There we go. So squish all that in there, separate this, put this section over here kind of first like that, bring this section down and over here. See, and I didn't. There we go. Keep that like that. And then you bring this down and over like that. And then you push this piece up just like so. Locks it all into place. Make sure you squeeze everything so it's all nice and secure. These little pieces here, these drop down. Really, again, tough to do. There we go. Just like so. Now this part can get a little bit complicated. We're going to just bring this down, and then you bring this, and you have to angle this around here. So first, you have to bring these. You got these little sections right here, these little square sections. They need to rotate around and then tab underneath here. The problem though is, and you can kind of see it, this is filled in. So that needs to come down and plug inside there. The problem though is, because it's filled, it doesn't push in all the way. So you need to angle, and this is where they say to, use the little tool, and there you have that. And then you can see it doesn't go all the way up because it's closed off there. So bringing that in and bringing that down, you have to pull this forward to get that little lip section going in there. And there you have, well, what's going to be his left side. So all you do here, bring this down, and then you line up the little tabs. So you got a bunch of them right here. So you got like two little tab sections right here. You got two little hole sections. You just bring them together, put that up there at the top, just line everything up. There we go. So you just give that a nice squeeze, but you can see that in the process, it kind of keeps things not closing right there, just because the sections aren't completely clear. And that's kind of unfortunate, but I mean, like I said, as a test sample, I'm looking forward to seeing what they'll kind of improve with that. Hopefully that's something that they fix. Now, as I talked about, transformation is exactly the same. So I'm going to go ahead and skip it with this guy, and then show you the final assembly for Spotter. Much like the other side, all you do is you just bring this in, you get that kind of tab down. You have to do a lot of squeezing to get it. So push that down, squeeze this section. Getting those tabs to line up can be a little bit tricky, but just like I said, give it a nice squeeze. Now you can see again that these don't collapse all the way down just because that plastic isn't all the way through, but you come around to the back and you can see that it does collapse a whole lot better. That's because the back section, the whole sections were all the way through, so you can see basically what the front should end up looking like. That does make it look a little bit ugly, but again, test sample, so I can't complain overly too much. You put this section in right there, and then you just bring this over, and this clips onto the top, and there you have Spotter back in his camera mode. And honestly, again, I really do think that FT Toys has done a great job of taking a classic character, updating them, and giving them to us in kind of a masterpiece scale sort of actual appearance. This guy looks absolutely great with your other masterpiece figures. Now the camera mode, honestly, might be the weakest of it, but I think it comes together fairly decently. I mean, yeah, there are some panel lines and some breaks and things like that. I mean, obviously this section right here is probably just because it's a test sample, so I don't want to be overly critical of that, but you got these panels and things like that. So I mean, it might not come together as perfectly as some people would like, but ultimately, I think that they do a pretty good job of incorporating three figures into one thing. I think it came together fairly nicely. Now, the transformation does have some complex nature to it, which does give a kind of masterpiece feel, but it's simple enough that, providing you go in the right order, there really shouldn't be too much of a problem. But I really think that where this figure shines is in the robot form. Each one of them looks really very good, and even though, again, there is some stylistic changes like with the goofy faces, in general, I think that this is a great representation of the character Reflector. Now, this guy should be hitting retail fairly soonish. Usually when we get product samples like this, it's still about a month or two before the final one is actually released. So again, I do want to thank the folks who are at Fans Toys for making it possible so that I can show this to you guys a little bit ahead of schedule. And hopefully it's answered some questions and basically served its purpose. But beyond that, guys, that's about it. So once again, I want to thank you for tuning in. This has been Optibotimus, and until next time, I'll talk to you later.